Nate, you mentioned Hulk Hogan before, and I want to take a trip down memory lane here. Talk about your arrival in WWE in 1991, which happened 30 years ago this fall. How many times did that almost happen in the past? And what was the holdup?
5.
Really?
5 false alarms.
Well, what happened? What killed it? What delayed it?
I had a disagreement with Dusty about stuff. You know, I mean, as much money as we made it together, and one of my favorite opponents of all time, the world champion, if he's working under the umbrella of a booker that wants to be the world champion, or has been a world champion, or wants to make sure that he's on top of the world champion, you're going to have conflicts, right? So I called one day, and I said, Vince, can I come? He said, yeah. I said, I want you to wrestle. I said, what do you have open for me if I come? And he said, you and Savage. I think it was for SummerSlam, but it was at the Garden or something. It was some huge opportunity for me. But at the end of the day, which is one of the bad mistakes I made, is I just couldn't leave Tully and Arn and Barry. And I mean, those guys were my heart and soul. When you travel like we did, I mean, guys, people don't realize this, but on Great American Bash tours, we were on a private plane to a different city every night for 46 days, cutting our head every night, the war games every night, drunk all night. We would give the pool boy in Vegas $500 to hold the 5 chairs open for us. It was a satellite for us. We stayed at the Tropicana, flew over to Albuquerque, did the show back at Tropicana. Flew to Frisco, did the show back at Tropicana. Seattle, back at Tropicana. LA, back to Tropicana. 5 days that. And I was running on Weider products. Probably the only one. I had a nervous breakdown flying home. I'm not kidding you. I said, Sting, can I talk to you? I said, about what? Just anything. And our last stop was Kansas City on the way home, and I had to wrestle Brody for an hour. I go, Frank, what do you want to do tonight? I'll get back to you, Ricky. Harley, what did Brody say to you? He said to get back to me. I'm gonna get Brody tonight. I'll take care of him. He'll do what I tell him to do, and he'll like it. Harley, please leave him alone. I gotta work with 1 hour. That's the way it went. Let me know if Frank's difficult tonight. Okay, Harley. I will. Anyway, Brody was the greatest. Had more fun with him too, boy. And talk about a guy that could work, a working machine.
Oh, for a big man, there weren't many better big men ever.
Never. Only a few. I mean, a guy was in tremendous shape. You know, those guys literally, they fought for their lives every night. I'll tell you a great story just out of context about Brody.
Sure.
So Brody and Hansen, they ruled Japan, and they made a fortune, deservedly so. They were that good, and they were that intimidating. But man, they put Tenryu and Dick Slater together in a tag team match. I just watched it the other day. I had to pull it back up. And Slater said to me, watch. Nothing even close to the kind of match I used to have with the other guys. Not even close. Nobody ran into Dick Slater. And Tenryu was tough too, but not like Dick. And it was, I thought watching myself, of course I didn't say anything. I wanted to say, Frank, you guys slow down a little bit out there tonight, huh? I didn't, but I wanted to.
Well, getting back to your arrival in WWE in 1991, why did they not go to you and Hogan on pay-per-view right away? Because everybody would have seen that as a world title unification match. You had the NWA belt with you, and they did do you and Hogan at some house shows. I saw one of those in Pittsburgh. Why didn't they do it on pay-per-view?
I don't know. I've heard 2 stories. One is that they were having a cash flow problem. And so let's say we sold out Boston, we sold out LA, Oakland we sold out, the Garden we didn't sell out. Okay, our first show in the Garden, we did not sell out. So I don't know whether people didn't think I could draw, because it's fun. It's my whole career had been Southern based until I got the belt. Then I'm traveling across the country, but I still was never mainstream TV on the East Coast. So being the NWA champion, I never was in New York. I never was in Philadelphia until the small building came along. Okay, and then we were there every night. We even went against those guys, and when they were in the Spectrum, we all got together afterward, which was a good time. But I don't think maybe they didn't perceive me as being over enough. Everybody speculates that it would have been the biggest thing ever, but you never know. I've heard, Hulk wanted to go off and do TV, and she did that Thunder in Paradise show, and who knows? I've never questioned it, and everybody keeps, to this day, people say, "Aren't you mad about that?" I say, "Mad about what?" I spent a year and a half. I wrestled Bret Hart. I wrestled Hogan. I wrestled Jake. I win the Royal Rumble. I wrestled Savage. I win the World Championship twice, and then I go back. How can I be mad? I traveled with DiBiase, Piper, the Nasty Boys, the Road Warriors. I mean, look at the crew we traveled with. When we went to Europe, it was the hoedown. Woo!
Well, no, I think what you're saying has some validity, but I think you're too humble too. Let me tell you a theory I have as to why they didn't go with it on WrestleMania, because I saw that match at a house show in Pittsburgh, which was very close to sold out, by the way. And they booed Hogan and cheered you. It wasn't universal, but it was definitely a mixed crowd. And I don't think WWE wanted that to get on pay-per-view. I don't think they wanted that to get on TV. You look at the Royal Rumble, which we'll talk about at length in a later podcast, Rick. But that Royal Rumble, they cheered when you won. They went nuts. They booed Hogan with that routine at the end. And I just don't think Vince ever wanted that on TV in a singles match.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I'll tell you, the guy that doesn't get nearly enough credit for helping me when I first came there, I got the Bobby Heenan rub, which was huge.
Yep.
You know the story, right? Bobby went on the road with me for one weekend, and we did we did L.A. We did Oakland, L.A., San Diego, Phoenix, and back for the Garden, right? So we go out to get ready to do Oakland with Hulk, and he says, "I'm just going to stay in the corner. I don't do anything more." I said, "What do you mean you don't do anything?" He says, "And Rude didn't like me do anything. I'm not going to do anything." I said, "Well, I don't care what Rude wants you to do. I want you right here with me. I want Bobby Heenan from Minneapolis." And so do the fans. He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Bobby, you're goddamn Bobby Heenan. Please be yourself." Who, by the way, in case people don't know it, was a great worker.
Oh, I know. I know.
Oh, yeah. No, not good.
I know.
Great. Bumps. I mean, he didn't have to go out and wrestle 30-minute matches, but whatever time he put in the ring, he was great. Great punch, great kick. I mean, everything, facials. So I got the Bobby Heenan rub. And when Bobby, but on the way home, on the red eye for the Garden, he looked at me and said, "I hope you die and your hair grows back red." He walked in the Garden, he quit. He looked at me and said, "I'm done." He said it in his Hall of Fame. He said in his Hall of Fame induction that he didn't sign on to manage Larry Flint.
Well, having had a taste of that myself,
I don't know how I ever got that tag.
having had a taste of that myself, I can certainly sympathize. But no, you say you're not mad, Rick. But isn't it a regret? Maybe not mad, but at least a regret that you and Hogan never headlined WrestleMania, because that would have had more impact then than when you guys did it in WCW. And I would think that's specifically why Vince would have brought you in. I still can't believe it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, but Mark, I swear to God, if people, I'm answering this, we're uncensored. I don't think about it. I didn't then. I was at WrestleMania. I'm wrestling Savage. We had a decent match. It could have been a lot better, but Randy, obviously, for very well-known reasons, was so distracted. That was the last time he and Liz ever saw each other and worked together. It was a very strenuous week of preparation. And, but aside from that, I thought we had a decent match, and, they went their separate ways. But, I've always had a lot of time for Randy. I helped break Randy into business. He came into Charlotte. He'd been playing minor league baseball for the Cardinals or the Reds, one or the other.
Cardinals, yeah.
He came in and he was a 170-pound kid, and you know, to this day, I have a lot of respect for Randy. I don't think he's a great worker, and I can give examples why, but I thought he was really good, and he had a great gimmick, and he and Liz were just delightful, and in my mind, and always will be, two of the biggest stars that I've ever had an opportunity to work with.